Hello, my name is Michael Larson, and I'm going to be going over my STEM history timeline. The first event that I'm going over is mathematics. The oldest mathematical artifact in existence is from around 20,000 BC, and it's from Africa. It was made of bone and had little notches carved into it that was used for counting. Over time, mathematics got more complex and eventually led to calculus after thousands of years. The second event that I'll be going over is the discovery that Earth is not the center of the universe. The idea started in 1514 when Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus first questioned the universally agreed idea that the Earth was the center of the universe. He wrote a book proposing the idea that Earth wasn't the center and suggested that the rotation of the Earth is why the sun would rise and set. In 1532, he established that planets revolved around the sun rather than everything revolving around the Earth. The book that he had written wasn't published until 2 months after he died in 1543. The third event is the creation of the smallpox vaccine, which first got started in 1796 when the very first vaccine was demonstrated using the same principle as variolation, but from cowpox, which was a less dangerous source. Dr. Edward Jenner inoculated an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps with matter from a cowpox sore. He reacted to the cowpox as expected and fell sick for several days, but made a full recovery. 2 months later, in July of 1796, Dr. Jenner took matter from a human smallpox sore and inoculated James with it to see how he reacted to it, and he remained in perfect health and became the first person to be vaccinated against smallpox. It wasn't until the 1950s where smallpox vaccination really kicked off, and then in 1980 it became eradicated from the world. The fourth event I'll be going over is the first revolver. It was originally created in 1831 by Samuel Colt and patented in 1836. The firearm quickly became synonymous with Texas and became known as the Texas Colt. It changed the way wars were fought because multiple rounds could be fired without having to reload. It is still a very popular revolver to this day, being used in TV shows and movies, and many gun enthusiasts try to acquire one as they're still in production by some companies to this day. The fifth and final event I'll be going over is the emergence of nuclear energy. Starting out in 1934, physicist Enrico Fermi conducted experiments that showed neutrons could split many kinds of atoms. He bombarded uranium with neutrons and saw that the resulting elements were much lighter than uranium. The first nuclear reactor was built in 1942 and was called Chicago Pile 1 and was used for experimentation. It was shut down a year later in 1943. The nuclear power industry quickly grew in the 1960s due to being economically and environmentally safe, but growth slowed in the 1970s and 1980s. There have only been two major incidents involving nuclear reactors. The first in 1986, which was the Chernobyl incident, killing 31 people, and the second was in 2011, which was the Fukushima nuclear reactor in Japan, which was caused by an earthquake, and there were no deaths directly related to the nuclear reactor. To this day, there are about 439 reactors worldwide, providing an estimated 10.1% of the world's power. Many people don't like the idea of using nuclear energy, arguing that it is unsafe and pointing to Chernobyl and Fukushima as well as nuclear waste. But advancements made in nuclear reactors have made it even safer than it already was. Nuclear energy is much safer than coal, oil, and gas, as well as has a less of environmental impact than solar, and can also produce an exponentially more amount of energy. In conclusion, technology and our understanding of the world has changed significantly over the course of our existence. Many of the discoveries made throughout history have impacted things today. For instance, the discovery of math from over 20,000 years ago has made nuclear energy possible, or the ability to calculate the rotation of the Earth and surrounding celestial bodies to discover that we aren't the center of the universe.